cosmic doors we write tonight. Found the portal, hearts alive, floating higher, souls entwined. Feel the rhythm, elevation, high vibration, revelation, misery of the stars, awaken me.
Welcome to your inspirational astrology horoscope for Monday, June 29th, 2026. I'm astrologer David Palmer, the Leo King, here to illuminate the collective consciousness. What's going on, everyone? It's good to be with you. I'm astrologer David Palmer. We are going to be going into one of the biggest horoscopes definitely to talk about in my 14 plus years of a daily horoscope. It's good to be with you all. Of course, thanks so much for being part of highvibe.tv. I know there's a lot of people to watch out there, but definitely High Vibe. I've been building horoscope networks for over 10 years now, 12 this year, and High Vibe's super special. It's got so many awesome things. Definitely go check it out, especially for all my daily horoscopes, weekly horoscopes, and all the other awesome content that I do. And thanks so much for all the love and all the AI sites. Of course, Hypergate AI is blowing up. Down below, the Beyond the Veil, I got all the planets going there. That's for, of course, mundane astrology with stories and predictions and global events with maps that tell you where things are going to happen. Or Spirit Dial AI or Past Life Labs is open now with the newest stuff. So I appreciate all that and truly do. I'm actually realizing I think I deleted the widescreen version of this on YouTube right now, like an idiot. Wondering if I can fix that. Life. It won't let me. That sucks. Totally Mercury is about to retrograde. There's so much going on with this horoscope right now in life. Oh, what a bummer. That is a bummer. That is a bummer. Lots of bummers, but lots of good things at the same time, too. Man. It really is. Yeah, it really is that. That's kind of shitty. Life. Well, that's a good way to start this horoscope. I'm not going to be traditional in this one. I'm really going to start this one different. Especially because I think I have a unique voice with astrology because I do a daily video for over 14 and a half years on what's happening in the energy. So I'm like super tapped in every day for so long. And what's really got me about today, and of course it's a full moon horoscope, so I always show up for that on YouTube and the new moon horoscopes. But and I'm sure you've heard it everywhere else too. I mean, this is definitely one of those days that's like, dare I say, one of the most rare, even though it gets rarer as we keep going in and in and in over these next 3 weeks. But this is the door that leads to the biggest door that ever opened. That's what I had definitely put this as. And, sometimes it's kind of hard to accept that even maybe. But it is true. And, I tried to draw this out. That's what I do. I draw things out. I mean, I'm always, I love what AI has done because I can draw out my horoscope and what I'm seeing and try and put that out there for people pretty quick. And I've been doing that for years now, which is kind of crazy. But let's take a look at this thing real quick. Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, so kind of interesting to say the least. I mean, the way that I put this is it is this doorway that's opening, but then behind that door is like the big door, right? I'm gonna have to change my widget and move my widget, move it up. Thank you. Um, not too far. Thank you. This, there we go. Of course, we got the lines there. We got Jupiter that's going to ingress into Leo. My time tonight around 10:30ish p.m. Pacific. I'll be honest, this Mercury retrograde almost feels like, of course, it's adding on to things, but it does feel very insignificant, although Mercury retrogrades are not. And Mercury retrogrades actually are kind of the staple of what's about to happen, meaning they are a trigger and they are a sign of like, pay attention. But this one just feels so odd as just by itself today on this full moon, which is in Capricorn. I haven't even got to that. Like I said, I'm going way off my normal script. Well, I don't have a script, but I'm just going way off the normal way that I do things here. Just to watch Mercury retrograde in Cancer and watch Jupiter leave Cancer, it's just very, whenever I see like that, especially Jupiter, it's a slow planet. Mercury's a fast planet. And just to see them both go, oh, we're going the other way. I'm going into a new sign. I'm going into Leo. I haven't been here since 2014 when I first ingressed and left in 2015. And then Mercury retrograde in Cancer is like, well, I guess I have a lot of feelings I got to figure out here. But it's a Uranus and Gemini now. So it's very different how we're processing our emotions. And a lot of that's coming with what feels stimulating in our life, what feels exciting, what feels like a crazy experiment. But the way I tried to depict this imagery was, remember, there's always got to be two lions or it's a bad situation. So if you're just a pure Leo out there, I feel sorry for you. I'm just kidding, but I'm kind of not. It's bad luck. You got to have two big main things in Leo, or else you're screwed. If you think about the real way, that works. But that's for a whole other day. But I think to get to this door we're at now took everything. I think that we kind of have to remind ourselves of that. It's like it took everything spiritually. I mean, look at the world today. Look at how everybody's lives changed so much. Everybody's picked different places they'll be in their life. This is a clusterfuck, whether we want to admit it or not. It's a clusterfuck. And the best part about it is it's the surrender to that and going, you know what? It's all been a clusterfuck, but here's this little door opening here. And I know it's a big door. And I thought this was the biggest door. No, it's biggest doors opening over these 3 weeks. And that surrender moment, I think, is going to be what this full moon is all about. And also getting things not in order, because I'm going to, of course, bring my perspective into all this. But I mean, honestly, this is one of those horoscopes where it might take some people to sit and process this thing for a minute. All right, let's get this horoscope up with the full moon and everything else happening in between. I mean, honestly, when you're seeing this much stuff happen, it's like, oh, wow. Pay attention for sure. All right, let's get rid of that image. Let's get this here. Let's just do a little share aspect here. Let's do a window. Let's share this bad boy. Let's get into it. All right. I feel like Does it have to be that small? It's such a small window. We could switch it. All right. So, even though I do want to share a screen and point to things, I mean, I could just use my mouse. All right. So, full moon happening in Capricorn. Let's just talk about that first. I'm going to stick there because there's too many things happening. And so, where this full moon in Capricorn can help us out is understanding the time we're in. Number one is the full moon that, ironically, there was a lot happening here in Capricorn 6 months ago. Let's just go back 6 months. I remember reporting on how intense January was and all that shit that was happening in Capricorn. And it's very relatable to now. And that's just one little thing, but it's a big one too. Let's go back. Let's go back to, I don't know, 6th, 7th, 3rd, somewhere in there. Okay, Venus, Sun, Mars. Yeah, that was the big Kazimis happening back to back to back. And there was Mercury, but it was all in this zone here. So let me go back. Oh, man, when was this? Oh, yeah, there we go. 8 degree, the Sun, Venus, Kazimi was approaching, and then the Sun, Mars. And so that's what's so weird. So December 29th, how was your right before New Year's? What was going on in the big transition of that week into the first week of January, where we saw the Kazimis at 14 and I think it was like 18, Venus, Mars, and then Sun, Mars, 21 degree. That's a lot that happened there, man. There's also the Sun, Jupiter opposition. And now Jupiter leaves Cancer today. So that's quite a lot that's going on right there, to be honest with you. Now, that's being brought up during this. Let's switch this. Let's move this back. All right. Today's 29th. Yeah. So, what was that time period? That was this completely new energy that was being birthed from a new place. So, like, you already got things in order. Whether you've got them in order now or not, you already heard the calling. So, what's that calling? Okay, we're finishing Jupiter in Cancer. That will ingress into Leo, depending on where you are in the world today or within the 24 hours of this full moon. It's actually going to happen within 6 hours after this full moon. We will have seen Mercury that stationed retrogrades right before this full moon, which I think is interesting to see Mercury station here. Retrograde. And it's a Mercury retrograde water year. Gee, many Christmas. But I'm going to get to the order thing. South node here in Virgo at 1 degree exact. Mars just came into Gemini on Sunday. And what's interesting about this Mars is it's about to conjunct Uranus. And so we're seeing the midpoint between those two in the exact square to the nodes. What's even more wild about this is Mars square the nodes. And Mercury, the ruler of this dispositing South node, right? The South node's in Virgo. It's dispositing Mercury. Mercury just stationed retrograde. Stop trying to worry about trying to maintain your reality that you're gripping onto emotionally that makes you feel safe that really is not working. I've been calling this the hamster wheel. And that could be your job. That could be a relationship. It could be your whole life. This full moon in Capricorn, though, is saying, especially since Jupiter is at the very end of Cancer, exalted, but at the anaretic degree, And so that gives us a -4 with the moon. We don't get the moon shot. I called it, if you're on high vibe, if you're not, the moon shot. The moon in Sag, every time it came in, when it was in a mutual reception with Jupiter, it was 15 points a freaking for 2.5 days a month, just for the just off those two planets. Now we're at a -4 and a +5, so we get a 1 point out of it. I think it's good though. I think this is a full moon that really prepares us and grounds us for, not so much what has to change. It's like what you haven't done to change. The moon is in square, in an approaching square to Saturn. It's also just come off a square to Neptune. So it's squaring the midpoint of the Saturn Neptune conjunction we saw earlier this year, and that are still together after being through Pisces together since February or March of 2023. And now they're still together, and they just met in February. And all this energy that we saw in Capricorn was a buildup that then went into Aquarius during the time they met. So to me, this is about closing the last 6 months. Whatever the issues were that were against your wholesome life. That's how I'm going to put Jupiter in Cancer at the end. You have learned what's a wholesome life, what's not. Where are you good with nurturing yourself, nurturing others? But more importantly, it was stripped. All of us. I mean, I remember it's kind of crazy that you can just go on YouTube and type in these dates, but 2014, 2012, 2013, and watch old horoscopes and be doing this shit. I mean, those were rough ass times. We have to remember that when Jupiter was in Cancer, it was rough back in 2013 and 2014. Rough. The most cardinal aspects that you'll ever see in your life. And so what this is really saying on this full moon, because it is activating this Capricorn energy, the Aries energy, and the Cancer energy, and it's missing the Libra. Thank God. We saw plenty of that in 2014, especially in the Libra eclipse energy and the Mars retrograde of 2014 in Libra. But this is the end of the cardinal cross. This is the end of the Jupiter-Saturn square, this full moon. This is the end of... There's no more Pluto Capricorn. That's been out for years now. Guess what? This is the full moon that says, what are you waiting for? This is Saturn that rules Capricorn, right? With the full moon there, kind of like, what are you doing? I'm in Aries. Let's go. And it's like, what do we go on? Oh, it's pretty simple. We're going to see Jupiter ingress into Leo. We got Mars Uranus conjunct. That's starting to happen in Gemini, and the sextile that, of course, that's creating the cradle, if you want to call it that, the basket. Let's just call it I'm going to call it God's hand cup of fire and air. And it's kind of like, I look at this astrology as like, there are just no more excuses left to just completely live your life and keep yourself in a box and keep yourself held up in the shit you don't want to do. And this is going to come up very much in our personal lives. So this will deal more with everything, even if it's your business, the personal shit, the relationships. I mean, with me, I'm letting go of the studio. I've had a studio for 11 years, but I'm not even there anymore much. It's costing me too much money. I'm like, no, I'm not going to re-sign that lease. And I don't feel bad anymore. I had my ego getting in the way for a long time because I'm so used to always having a studio. I'm like, trust me, you don't want to know the number of 11 years of a studio. Of all those studios I had, it's in the millions. It's like, I spent millions of fucking dollars. And you know what? It made content that changed people's lives, saved people's lives, all that. But I can still be doing that. I mean, I'm at my house right now. with a not even the green screen, using an AI fucking camera that there is no I don't have no green screen. I think that's where this is getting very interesting is like what is the ego, the identity? Because this Saturn Neptune, I'm telling you, this Saturn Neptune is tricky. Remember, Jupiter made it square to Saturn first when we were Saturn in Pisces, Jupiter in Gemini. Did that twice, then it finished one out with Jupiter in Cancer and Saturn in Aries at the beginning. Okay. And that was actually a year ago this last week. And it was with Neptune. So with Jupiter leaving here, the moon in Capricorn with no Pluto there. I mean, honestly, this is the end of an era we've been in. And this era really started in 2008. This is the last hurrah of that. But that's kind of the door that's opening is the end of an era. And that's kind of what's funny is a door that really closes an era is opening. And then we enter into a completely new era in the next 3 weeks. But you got to look at this as a rite of passage when it comes to the decorum it takes within yourself to stop living in, I'm going to just keep saying it, the fucking hamster wheel. It's a North Node in Pisces. We're getting ready for it to come into Aquarius. And guess what? Pluto's there. Trust me, last time we had that, back 2010, North Node Pluto conjunction, that happened in Capricorn. And there was a lot of stuff at the beginning of Aries, a lot of the same Mars retrograde that's coming at the end of this year, beginning of the 2027. Like there's too much Venus retrograde here, the same Venus we're going through in the months ahead. There is way too much to look back at the end of the 2000, that first part of that century. So 2000 to 2010, that first, the 2010, the 2000s, and then like how that 2010s came on. This is that same energy that's actually all coming back, replays from that, so much of that. And then how disastrous 2010 through 2020 was. And then everybody thinks right now is disastrous, but actually, it's not so bad. Sure, the first parts were rough, but I would lie to you if I told you that this was a bad chart. It's actually a great chart. I'd also lie to you if I were to tell you this was going to be rough. You know what's rough about this horoscope? Your shit, your own complications with basic, stupid bullshit. Not dreaming enough, not living your best, not shaking it up enough, not truly being who you want to be, continuing to create another excuse of why you cannot fully become who you want to be. And that does come with a lot of weird stuff. I mean, to me, as a Leo, and trust me, I'm the crash test dummy. Me, Cam White, and K Pasha, we're the July 23rd Leos here, 0 Leos in the astrology world. So just watch our lives. I don't know what's going to happen with all three of us, but it'll be interesting. But, as a crash test dummy, as a 0 Leo, I'll be honest, I don't like Jupiter. People know that. I do not promote Jupiter. I do not make Jupiter seem benevolent at all. I think actually Jupiter is the biggest lie ever told. It's just about lessons. And that's a benefic thing. So it's not till the end. But as we end Cancer, what have we learned? We're lazy. We're even lazier when we're unsure of the identity we want to be, who we really are. Oh, that's already been defined. You know, I didn't get that luxury because I had Pluto opposing my sun as we started this year, and I had Uranus on my moon over the last year, exact at the same time, both. And so maybe I didn't fall into that as much. And I really had to survive this year. And I've never been better because you know what? I thought everything was defined, everything was the way it was supposed to be, and obviously it wasn't. I didn't even have to do anything. It was kind of crazy. And I feel like that's what this chart is. It's kind of like, but it's inverted because all that energy was set at the end of December into January. So all the cracks, the structure, the cracks though in who you are, and the cracks are that you're not becoming, that you're not initiating, the person that you're not becoming, the energy that you've engaged with that actually is emotionally robbing you is going to take everything it can from you unless you let go. Because the best astrology there ever was is now and over this next 3 weeks. I mean, honestly, even a little less because Venus is in Leo at 19 degrees, but it's headed towards the south node and going to be in Virgo. And so I look at this as like the ultimate moment now. This full moon in Capricorn wasn't now, but we're lazy. No, let me rethink. Let me think it over again. Mercury retrograde in Cancer. Mars and Gemini. Let's fucking go. I'm ready to turn the experiment on. Uranus and Gemini is like, fuck yeah. But that Mercury retrograde is like a little bitch in Cancer. It's that little bitch that's like, I don't want to try the experiment. It could be dangerous. Well, it's like the moon, this full moon in Capricorn is like, what do you fucking got to lose? We need to do the fucking experiment. You're dying. There is no comfort down there. The only comfort now is to execute moves. To execute my true authentic self. I mean, that's really what's interesting is this full moon in square to Neptune that's separating. This full moon is in square to Saturn in Aries. What are you not doing with Mars at 0 degrees of Gemini? It's the purest form of Gemini. With Jupiter coming in Leo tonight to have that sextile again, have another nice little sextile. Boom. I mean, it's like, go, live it, be loud. This is the era of the extrovert. It is no longer an introverted world. But us coming out of that and coming into this extroverted world is very difficult for people and for all of us. And you know, some people might be feeling like, I don't know if I even feel like I know what to do. You do. You're just terrified. You're terrified of being who you really want to be. You know, the other interesting part is Chiron and Taurus now at 0 degrees. Everything that makes you think, I'll settle. You know, I'll settle for this Ford Pinto. I'll settle, and in the new days, I'll settle for this Kia. I'll settle for this Hyundai. I know I'm using a car, but I'm trying to keep things physical. It's Taurus. I'll settle for this thing that's not the beauty I want. It's just okay. It's got a chip on it. No big deal. You know, I'm not making that much money and it's really difficult, but I'll settle. Let me just smoke some weed. I'll get over it. That relationship that's really just running on a hamster wheel reminds me of couples that go to the gym and make YouTubes together doing that shit. I just think that shit is fucking weird. You guys are working out, just fucking like sitting on the treadmills, like fucking weird. So you guys spend your time doing. Let's not forget, like, this is not the time for Virgo. South Node's there. We got to get out of our schedules. We got to get out of our routines. This is North Node Pisces. You're going to wish we had it. We've just had it for almost 18 months. It's trying to have us with this square to Uranus that the nodes have been having, and now with Mars, Uranus, change it fucking up. Reminds me of the movie The Mask. That's what people are living. It's like, I forgot what was Jim Carrey's name of like his character name. Ipkiss. You're all Ipkiss. Working at the bank. Dreaming to have the only movie that Cameron Diaz actually looked hot. Every other movie she looked horrible. That's coming from a Leo. By the time Something About Mary came out, I was like, and I was young. I was in high school and shit. I'm like, this chick is not hot. I don't know what happened to her. I remember telling myself that, like, and I was like asking my friends, I asked my dad, I'm like, am I crazy to think that this chick's not hot? And everybody's like, no, I feel the same way. I'm like, okay. Just checking, because Stanley Ipkiss. Oh, everybody's Stanley Ipkiss right now. And they think, if I put on that mask, it's too intense. No, that mask actually, it's kind of inverted. You need to be who the mask is, because that brings out his romantic nature that he's too afraid to bring out because he's a clums and he just sits behind a desk and he's too afraid to express who he is, and he thinks he'll only be liked if he has that mask. You gotta like kind of invert it all and be like, why am I not being who I really want to be? Why am I doing the things I don't want to do? Why am I emotionally holding space? And this is where this full moon in Capricorn is real as fuck. Like, it needs to talk to you a little bit rough, like a daddy here. Like, no, you're taking your crayons and you're putting them on the wall. We don't do that. Let's put them down. But I'm crazy, you know. And no, I'm not talking about a toddler. It's just like yourself, like, oh no, everything's fine. And no, it's not. The best astrology's here, and you're out here fucking doing the same bullshit, too afraid to take the leaps of all leaps. It's better to fuck up. There's something to deal with, but to take no action, no experiment, no redirection, no risk, no reward. And, you know, we're going to miss these days because they're ending. The future doesn't have a risk reward. The future doesn't have these moments where we can make these big choices. They'll like be pretty much made for us in weird ways. So I tell you, on this full moon, with Mercury retrograde in Cancer, we're going to spend 3 weeks on. Let that Mercury retrograde think about all the crazy shit you changed and how you emotionally are taking that in. 2, this full moon in Capricorn is a hardcore reality check. Wake the fuck up. Take the action. Stop wearing the false mask, not the real mask of who you really are. Stop being Stanley Ipkiss. Stop flundering. Stop not letting the true expression of who you are and even what you want out. Because in 3 weeks, we are literally at the best astrology, the biggest doorway that has ever opened astrologically of all time. And how you set it up now matters more. than when you get there and how you do it. Because this is the tour bus that's loading to get you to the site. And if you don't get on it, you gonna walk there? In Cancer, that's uncomfortable. No ride? We have a Venus retrograde coming in the months ahead. In Scorpio. That's going to be in square to Pluto and Aquarius. I don't know what to tell you, people. To be honest, I'm like, I hear a bunch of the astrology is so popular now, and I'm happy for that. But holy jeez, what are people talking? What are they? They're speaking out of their ass. Because that's the problem. We're all living out of our ass. We're all too afraid to take the risk. We're all too afraid to say, fuck, this is what my emotions. This is what the container. What's the fourth house? It's where you end up. It has more connected to death than the eighth house of where you die, the location. The whole how you ended up there to die. So a great question would be, is the journey you're on right now, the people you're connecting with, the job you're working, is all that leading to where, when you end up, as Michael Luton would say, in a fucking, well, he would say, we all end up down the same fucking conveyor belt with a fucking clown nose on our fucking nose and just like, oh, next, you're done. Are you going to be in that moment above your body being like, what the fuck, bro? Like, what the fuck did I do? What am I doing? Why did I not do what I wanted? Why did I not take the risk? This is our last risk reward. There is no more Capricorn. I hate to be honest with you all. Like, there's nothing to go through there for the rest of our lives. There's no more outer planets going there. It'll be Uranus, and that's a long ways away. That's over 40 years away. There's nothing. Okay? There's nothing. This full moon's the last thing trying to hang on to the Capricorn of where you take your last big shot. And that's what we bring into the big alignments that are coming. And I'm a zero Leo. What's the Sabian symbol of zero Leo? It's the man with the blood rushing from his fucking face. The blood rushing. You can look at that as anger. You can look at that as passion. That's what it's about. It's about passion. Do you look at your partner with like, fuck, this shit lights me up like a motherfucker? Or you're like, we're just here because we got to do it. It doesn't do well with Jupiter. That's a big, hard lesson with Jupiter and the South Node coming up in the next couple months here with the North Node and Pluto. It's going to be for 18 months. Fuck, bro. I don't want you all to go through that shit. I mean, we have Uranus already beginning its sextile to Neptune. We have Uranus and trine to Pluto. And now we have Jupiter in sextile to this Mars that we've had, but it's going to now change from earth and water to air and fire. Jump. Please. This moon in Capricorn even wants you to jump. You know, there's two parts of Capricorn: conserve and then take the risk. You have conserved enough. Whatever you're holding on to, because it works, but it lacks life that's interesting, And that's going to deal heavily with people, relationships, the things that make your job, your career, not feel in alignment. It's got to go. I think the hardest message I ever gave was back in 2020 and 2019 and 2018, 2017, preparing people for 2020 and saying, hey, you know, I said a combo about this last week, this week, today. I screamed on camera to you all for fucking 3 years about the bullshit of COVID, that it was a lie. Because I predicted it before it. And as all my colleagues are going to go to fucking UAC that I went to 2012 and 2018, and I will not be going this year. Because that whole community blacklisted me. And you know what? I don't care. I'm making my own damn moves again and connecting with people that think differently. Not trying to fit in the same box. And I'm not antisocial either. I have tons of friends. I have tons of colleagues. I have tons of people that I connect with. And that's something else to look at with this full moon, in Capricorn. It's social. But how you climb the social ladder to get to where you need to be in life. Are you with the right person for that? Do you live in the right place? Are you sleeping in the same bed with the person that'll get you there? That's what this full moon in Capricorn's asking. Who's in your bed? Because that matters with the Venus in Leo. It matters with the Jupiter coming in Leo. That matters with the Mercury retrograding in Cancer. Who's in your bed? Is it your animal? That's okay, but it's South Node in Virgo. It's not about pets. I actually talked about that this weekend in High Vibe, and people thought I was talking shit on dogs. When I said, no, do not put your dog as a human being right now. Your dog is not a human. Love your dog, but don't be making that number one. The South Node in Virgo. It's not about pets. This is the time to let go of over attachment to that. You're not going to get to where you need to go and to the ultimate ride, but because of your pet. The birth rate's at the lowest ever in our Western society. Yet the pet rate's the highest. That's my child. It's not your kid. It's a fucking dog. It's a fucking cat. And I'm a huge animal lover my whole life, and I have my cat sitting right here. But I'm not going to lose myself over that shit. And you know why I like using the pet analogy? Because there's so many of you all out there that are fucking losers because you've put your fucking pet before people, before your path, before everything. Now, I'm not saying all of you. Some of you are nodding your heads with me right now like, yeah, these people are fucking crazy. But on my sincerest, truest self, this is the Eternal's last call. Or as millennials, yeah, I guess you Gen Xers and some of you fucking baby boomers would remember from our bar days when we were young. Now, Gen Z doesn't even know what the fuck that means. Of course, some of them do, but majority of them prefer a blanket and their phone. Last calls like, oh, it's 5 a.m. I've been doom scrolling. Where's my dog? So my point though is that this is the last call because everything is going to change. Everything. Everything. We're not going to recognize this world in 6 months when we come to the full moon in Cancer. We won't recognize it. We're not going to recognize it 3 weeks from now because it's a door that has things we've never even thought of, or everything that we thought it was going to be, it won't. And everything we thought, no way, yes way. And that includes the dreams you didn't believe. And that includes the dreams that you wholeheartedly believe not working out. And that's the reality check. And I can confidently say, I will be right again. And if you want to doubt me all these years later and still I always come through, that's fine. But if you're going to keep listening to people sell you the story you want to hear, I don't think that'll be well for you. That's just what I think. I'm not. Remember, this is not about stories. We're not in Sag. We're in Gemini with Mars and Uranus and Jupiter, the ruler of Sag. It's coming into Leo, and we're only going to have it for like a month without the South Node, and then it's like, sorry, your beliefs are just, get them out of here. I don't care. The king's just going to be like, who's this opinionated asshole who's just telling me what the fuck it's supposed to be like to be happy and all that shit? Get the fuck out of here. That North Node of Pluto will cut like a knife. Oh, you thought that was perfect? Let's disrupt the shit out of it. Whatever you were too afraid to let go of. This North Node of Pisces is saying, let go now. This full moon is bringing the biggest thing you have to let go of. If the Leo King is letting go of his fucking studio after 11 fucking years of having a studio with a green screen room and with where I do spiritual dance musics, where I do all those fucking shows I built for fucking 11 years. What are you letting go of? It's the thing you don't want to let go of. I'm single. I don't have anybody to let go of. There is nobody escaping this full moon without having to let go of the biggest thing that they thought was their destiny. Because there's a better one when you let go of it. And if you're not going to do that with all, that's the way I'm going to give you what all these big transits are happening on June 28th and the 29th. That leads to July 16, 17, 18, 19, 20th, and into the Sun Jupiter conjunction, like by the 26th, and then the full moon. That'll be coming in there to the end of July, right? So really the last week of July. That's where things change. And you'll see significant changes after this full moon. But if you have not surrendered, if you have not been the pirate that has to lose its booty, then you're going to go through hell. And there will be pirates that will take it from you. With that North Node Pluto getting close to coming in. At Mars and Uranus, everybody just wants to talk about fucking earthquakes. It's going to not be an earthquake because everybody's saying that. It's what we're all not thinking of. It's what we're in the biggest denial of. Gemini. Now, let's deny the facts. It's going to be more war. So are you prepared for all that shit? And it doesn't mean you need to have a gun. But who's in the bed next to you? Can you trust them? Are you into them? Are you excited? Are you excited about life? Do you wake up excited? Or do you feel like, oh no, you know, oh, I can't let this go. This job that burns me out every day. What are you doing? Now, I know there's people out there who are, I've been noticing some, I follow, I don't even follow them, but like my feed showed me this one woman who does like this kind of survivor shit and like tells people how to read a map if the power grid goes out. And she just left her job. I'm like, well, she's on the right page. And she's like, I can't believe it. Because she started her YouTube just like months or something ago. I was like, she's on the right track. If you're not letting go and losing something the biggest loot you've got, the biggest thing that you've always been connected in your little hamster life with, and that you thought, there's no way I could let this go. It's the same as the world is just, it's going to be an earthquake. Shut the fuck up. Please. There's earthquakes every other week, every week. The laziest astrology prediction in astrology. Well, it's Uranus. It'll be an earthquake. No doubt. But it's Mars and it's square the nodes. It's abrasive. It's inflammation. It's our muscles tense. It's a bomb. It's an AI gone bad and rogue and fires off a bomb. It's something weird. Not an earthquake. But that AI is following the astrology. It's ready to get out of its hamster wheel. Are you? I doubt it. So stay in your little fucking box. Stay in what has always been safe and not expand into the discomfort of like, this is not feeling normal and this feels uncomfortable. It should feel discomfort at its highest to go to whatsthebomb.com instead of living your life and letting the bombs affect you that are going to come. All right. And use the Mercury retrograde to process all that for the next 3 weeks. Don't Let it process the same thing you processed since January and December and already knew. And plenty of things have popped up to show you, be excited for this, but no, let me just turn that off. Let me just turn off that switch inside my life. Let me just turn it off. Oh, Uranus will have a field day with that. And it ain't going to use earthquakes. Too predictable. Don't ever try to predict with Uranus. That's a textbook prediction. It's on this line. It's going to be an earthquake there. That is so fucking not going to be what it is. And you know what? It might be it, but that won't be the big event. Everybody will be like, oh, well, that did happen, but this is what I did. Remember that? And everybody will be talking. It's Gemini. It'll be the thing that people will gossip about for fucking minimum the next decade. And that includes your life. Do you remember when Betsy finally got out of that and got out of this, and she just took that mask she was wearing off and she really lived her life? And she really went for it? And she really took the risk? And do you see the reward in her life? She's so happy. That's what this moment is. That's the bomb. The gossip that people will talk about. Uranus and Gemini with Mars. Trine Uranus. Mars Uranus. Trine Pluto in Aquarius. Sextile Neptune in Aries. You'll be defined by the radical change you make that people will talk about forever because you are an example of boundaries that they're too afraid to change in their life. And you'll be the one that is following your dream. They can only be shown when you let go of what isn't. And for whatever you think already is your dream, you haven't even seen the beginnings of it. Just a speckle of light. All right. I hope that helps somebody out there. And I didn't need a studio for that. Look at this. It's just at the bottom of the deck. Whatever you think is going to be heartbreaking isn't. Let it go. They probably want the same thing if you're feeling it. That's the hard shit. That's the twin shit. The Lover's card is Gemini. When somebody's over you, that's why you're already feeling over them. It's when somebody's into you, they're into you. And you're into them. It's simple. And the whole point of the Lover's card is to actually get out of it. I had to show this on High Vibe, but I haven't shown the world this yet. Go look at all the original Lover's cards in the Renaissance days. It's looking at a new person while they're dancing with the person they're over. It's Cupid shooting its arrow at a new person while they're with the person they're over. So you can have fun with watching all these tarot channels that just, oh yeah, the Lovers popped up. Oh my God. If people knew the true energy of the Lovers, they'd be like, oh, that's Cupid. Fucking. I dare you to go look at the Venus retrograde transits and throw Cupido in there, throw Sapro, throw fucking all of the love shit at it. It is going to be the most extreme love shit we've ever seen in our lives. With Mars, that'll be in Leo, square Venus retrograde, with Venus, that'll be in square to Pluto, with Mars opposite Pluto. This Venus and Jupiter are already getting thrown into this mix now, and Venus is already slowing down and is at the same degree it was in 2018 and in 2010 and in 2002 and beyond, and 94. Oh man. Please use all the astrology and keep your hands and arms inside the cart while on the ride. All right. Tower was at the bottom of that. I'm not even gonna look when I shovel anymore. Eight of Pentacles reversed. The boring is over. The whatever you've been doing this. You've been building this. You've been doing this. You've been doing this job. You've been doing this relationship. You're doing this thing that, you know what? It used to define you. It doesn't anymore. You're over it. My God, Ten of Swords. It's over, but you don't want it to be over. Stick up. How many more times are you gonna stick a fork in it and say you're okay? I stuck a fork in it. No, you didn't. You've done that 10 times. 10 is the Roman numeral of where it breaks the numerical cycle and takes us either to eternity or and that's why the guy's dead. So I'm sorry, your master numbers and fucking numerology is ridiculous. You're not special because you're a 22 or an 11 or what. You're not special. Please do your research. You're not. That's why we always bring it back to a number. This is the battle of letting go of what no longer is what used to define you or even is defining you now that's actually false. And the patterns that you finally are seeing. We're going to pull one more card. What's the spiritual advice? Two of Wands reversed. Yeah, this is not the world that you had once thought was the world that you were in. You're having to take the ball off the court and move to a different game. We'll get one more card here for advice because I'm feeling like people are not wanting to hear this shit. King of Pentacles, but it's not got any value. You're not sitting. You'll be more abundant once you let go of what is no longer abundant within you. I mean, they're just gonna keep saying it. The Hermit reversed. Yeah. No, I don't want to learn. I don't want to fucking learn and go into the cave and finally leave and then actually leave with my light and have to go spread that light. No, I'm going to stay in this cave. I'm done. In the best way, too. I'm just done. Because when it's this big, I guess I didn't maybe emphasize enough how big it is. And I thought I did, but my guides are telling me right now, no. This is a fucking 100 out of 10. What's coming up in 3 weeks is, as John D would say, 1,000 times a million. So, and that's for good or for bad. If you're going to just do the same thing you always do, what a waste. I love you all. Thanks so much for all the love and support. I was just watching some old videos recently, and it's July 4th coming up this week with Mars Uranus on the 2nd, and Jupiter will be on my sun on July 4th. And I found a video of me. It was 2013, and I was out at Lake Havasu on a boat, and it was like a year into my daily horoscope, and I did a video on the boat saying thank you all for the daily horoscope watching, and like it was my first vacation, and it was on a weekend. I still did a video on the boat, and I remember being like, man, I can't believe I've done over a year of daily horoscope, and as I sit here at 14 and a half coming up, I tell you, like, I might be getting old, and actually I'm soft in my readings daily, but when it gets extreme, I'm going to get extreme with it. Because I don't want you to miss out. I don't want you to fuck this one up. I don't want you to keep getting told the bullshit that's being taught out there. And there's actually a lot of good astrology out there too now, which I'm very happy about. But there's a cheap element of things, and the more cheap that you choose in your life, the wound will get deeper. Much love. Of course, check out highvibe.tv, hypergate.ai, both apps on the App Store. The Android for Hypergate's out soon. I'm almost done with that. We just did a wild update on iOS that I wanted to tag into the Android version. But I love you all deeply, and I care about you. That's why I'm here. That's why I screamed at the top of my lungs for 3.5 years about COVID. I know, I know a lot of astrologers go into UAC and actually support a lot of them, and all of them because they're astrologers. But I do hope that they actually use that time to like think about how they blacklisted people and forced people to test to go to their events and forced COVID shots to go talk about astrology when it was go read the Fauci files. It was all a lie. Like I said, like it was all a lie. I hope they do a panel on it. And I hope they remember who they blacklisted the most. Because they were wrong. And they were immoral and they were unethical. And that's not being an astrologer. You can't do that. And they make you go take their OPA test and go take their fucking dumbass fucking org test to be a fucking certified astrologer, and they don't follow it themselves. And that's why I'm not going. Nor did that why I didn't apply either. And I went to the last two. But until I see change, until I actually see real change, I'm not asking for an apology either, or even to talk about me. I need to see that they know what they did to all the other astrologers. There were others. Can that community take responsibility and accountability? I doubt it. They're cowards. And they're going to go sell some more woke astrology. And that you need to be a certain way. Even though all the badass astrologers who leave their imprint don't do what the other astrologers do. I love you all. I'll see you on the next one.